Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a Dynasty Mock Draft. We wanted to do a Superflex one, but Sleeper doesn't really take too kindly to the rankings that way. So we're doing a 2-quarterback one. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, and 14 bench spots. And with me to draft from pick number 8 is Matt. Matt, ready for this?
I am ready for it. Just to be clear, like on a super flex versus 2 quarterback, it's likely going to be the same anyway. You're going to use a quarterback 99% of the time as your super flex anyway.
Yeah, it just gives other teams more flexibility if they don't get the quarterbacks that they want. This forces it a bit more, but in pretty much every team should be starting 2 quarterbacks all the time. All right, so let's get into it here. I have pick 1. Thanks, random. And I will take the easiest pick of the draft, Patrick Mahomes.
Any
4 quarterbacks go before McCaffrey. 5 go before your pick at 8. Surprised by any of the quarterbacks that have gone?
Not really surprised by the ones that went. Maybe Herbert.
Yeah.
But I'm very surprised that many went right off the top. That's the thing that catches me by surprise a little bit. Now, real league, I'm trading back 100%. There's too many players I like here that I could get a little bit later on, just so you know.
And one of the things that's a great strategy in a dynasty league about trading back is getting yourself more top 40 or in Superflex leagues, top 50 picks so that you have a deeper starting lineup that's going to last you for several years. So instead of having a Christian McCaffrey, you get yourself, let's say, I'm just going to pick a couple names here at running back. You would have yourself a Cam Akers and a Najee Harris instead, and then you'd lose out on a running back along the lines of possibly James Robinson later on. So getting those 2 instead of the 1 makes a lot of sense in dynasty leagues because you want those long-term assets, and we have 2 flex spots and the second quarterback spot. So we're starting a lot of players every week. Something that we mentioned in the other video, just to trade back.
Yeah, I'm still taking Dalvin Cook, though. But I see a couple more quarterbacks went. Trevor Lawrence went that high. That's a little surprising. Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks off the board.
At this rate, everyone will have 2 quarterbacks by round 3.
Yeah,
the end of round 3. This is pretty insane.
I don't know if I should panic and take one. I'm probably not going to do that, and I might regret that.
Which quarterback would you take if you were taking one here? Would it be Joe Burrow over Russell Wilson?
It would be between those 2. I think I have Wilson ranked a little higher, and I know there's 8 or 9 years age difference, but quarterbacks, not such a huge deal. They can play till they're 40 and still be good.
And of course, if you want to find Matt's rankings, you can head on over to BlueDuckFantasy.com. They are there, the dynasty rankings sorted by Matt's name, and he does have Russell Wilson 1 spot ahead of Joe Burrow. Of course, you can sort by mine or just sort by our overall consensus rankings. And we also have rookie rankings and redraft rankings coming July 1st.
So I've taken Nick Chubb, and you have some really good options there. But yeah, I took Nick Chubb, so my running backs are set, and I'm set for quite a few years. And so I don't have to worry about running backs for a little while yet. But you've got some nice options that have fallen to you.
Yes, some very nice options. So as you saw last year when we did this draft and I traded up to get to 1.01 so I could have Patrick Mahomes, I didn't look at quarterbacks again until much later in the draft where I got Phillip Rivers, who lasted a whole year. So I don't see myself going quarterback here. Joe Burrow is nice, but I think, and it's kind of it could be an issue that I have with these drafts, is I keep thinking I'm fine with any of these other quarterbacks, so I don't need to move now. But I will be looking to move at some point. It's just not now. Running back, wide receiver, tight end. I think right now what my picks are going to be is going to be Devontae Adams for sure.
That looks like a pretty easy one to me.
Yeah, and I think my second one, and I know this isn't tight end premium, is it?
No, it is not.
We were not able to set that. So if it was tight end premium, I could see myself taking George Kittle. I can still see myself taking George Kittle even if it's not. But I think I would wait a bit longer. So let's just get Adams out of the way. And, I mean, that's such a good 1-2 punch there.
With Hopkins,
with DeAndre Hopkins and that. But I'm going to check out my rankings on BlueDuckFantasy.com to see who I have higher.
I'm curious with the amount of quarterbacks that are already gone. Are teams now going to do what you're kind of doing and sitting off on the second quarterback?
Possibly. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of take a pass on running back at this point. I do have Michael Thomas higher than DeAndre Hopkins, but he likely will last a bit longer. Likely won't make it back to me. I'm just wondering if it's at reach. And you know what? I'm going to go with George Kittle. I know it's not a tight end premium, but I do like George Kittle a lot. So I will take him here because I think that the gap in tight end versus the rest of the positions, yeah, let's go with George Kittle. Okay. And I'm just going to pretend it's a tight end premium. So there goes Burrow.
So, yeah, I almost got Burrow, but
so now 3 teams don't have a quarterback yet, and I would assume the other 2 are going to be probably looking quarterback and taking possibly Justin Fields or Trey Lance.
Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is just too good at this point to just let go, I think. As much as...
Yeah, we both have him at number 5 in our rankings.
I like a lot of these other guys, like Aaron Jones is still there. Yeah, I'm going to go Hopkins here. I've got 2 running backs already.
I'd assume you're hoping for Mixon to come back to you here?
That's my hope, yes.
And there goes 1 quarterback. Some more tight ends going, and you got him.
Yeah. There's Mixon. There's Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas. I mean, there's still a lot of really good players here, but, yeah, I'm going to build on a 3-headed monster at running back and probably really pay for that in quarterbacks down the road here, but we will see what happens. As you can see that a lot of teams are laying off of quarterback after grabbing one early.
And surprise, surprise, Michael Thomas makes it back to me, which I did not think would happen.
No.
So I'm quite happy with the pick that I made.
As Allen Robinson and Keenan Allen were both taken before him, which really
shouldn't happen. Really shouldn't happen.
Jamar Chase, you can make that argument for too.
So I'll go ahead and take Michael Thomas right away. I'm going to take a peek at quarterback here. I see Trey Lance. Hurts, I definitely don't want a piece of. Rodgers and Watson right now are tough players to draft at this point with what's going on with them.
Mm.
So, again, still happy with that. Would love to get Matt Stafford maybe next time around. Looking at running back since I don't have one yet and wondering if I have to force a running back here and checking out how high I think of Miles Sanders, which I think is not very surprising. I have him actually fairly high. So I will take him since I do have him in the top 15. And there have been a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, there have been plenty. Miles Sanders, welcome to the team. I keep getting him even though he's not a player I'm targeting whatsoever. I guess he just keeps falling.
Sometimes the value just ends up being there, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, there's Hawk.
Yeah. And again, I would have been looking at taking Hawk there. So who would have been the running back I would have taken? Possibly Zeke or Dobbins, and then taken Hawk here. Would I prefer to have that? No, I think I like Kittle and Sanders more.
Yeah, okay. And this one here isn't that difficult of a choice for me. Unless I really wanted to force on the quarterbacks here, but I'm going to take Mike Evans here. I think that's a very solid wide receiver to grab at this stage here.
So I see that you've copied the team that I did in the 1 quarterback draft by going with older wide receivers.
Yeah, looks like I did so far. Not on purpose, of course.
I've also done the same. So I'm continuing with that same strategy. You're now employing it. And we are back. Oh, there's really not much left at running back whatsoever.
No, I'm glad I have 3. And 3 that I have all 3 in the top 10. So I'm really happy with those guys. I'm not going to gamble on this anymore. Maybe a smidge of a reach, but and I actually have a quarterback ahead of him in Rodgers, but I'm going to take a little bit of youth here and go to a Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
Blah, 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 blah.
All right, so I have to peek at running back to see what's available, and I see Gaskin. And I'm wondering if I have to force running back here since I only have one. And I mean, I don't think I guess he's a top 25 guy.
Who are you talking about here? You got 2 picks, remember.
Yeah, so I think one of them has to be a running back. I'm still like, do you think a quarterback run is going to happen and I'm going to miss out on everyone?
I think a quarterback run is coming up because you can see here there's been, since round 1, there's only been, 2, 4, 5 quarterbacks taken.
So I'll go with Myles Gaskin. And then the decision at quarterback. Now, what is this team? Is this team going to win year 1 with the age of the wide receivers? Possibly. And unfortunately, in my rankings, Deshaun Watson is the highest one, but he's been taken, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't want to have to make that decision. Justin Fields is taken, but Trey Lance has not been.
Right. There's still some now guys there. There's Rodgers, Stafford, Tannehill. I know you don't like him. Baker, Wentz, Ryan.
I mean, Tom Brady is still there.
Brady.
I'm going to take the safest play, and he is the highest or second highest on my rankings. He's behind Wentz, but he is the safer play. Oh man, I feel like I think I'm going to start the run here by taking Matt Stafford. I know the upside on Trey Lance is huge, and now I'm debating this quarterback thing altogether. And I think I'm going to pivot away from it.
That's the one thing about being at the very ends, right? Like the bookends. If you miss out on the quarterback or running back, it doesn't matter. Whatever position run you're in trouble. Yeah.
So one of the things about Dynasty is even if you look at rankings and have somebody higher than another person, you're going to see somebody like a Mike Davis that stands out for a team that's not overly strong at running back and think, well, that could possibly be the pick here. But I still need another wide receiver as well. And I see Julio Jones just sitting there. I also see Cortland Sutton.
There's some good names there for sure.
Yeah, too many.
And that's what you're going to find in Dynasty, though. The older guys are going to sit there a little bit longer, and they're going to call you. Like this, given how tough this decision is for you, I'm assuming you would have probably been looking at a trade back here as well. Absolutely.
That would be the ideal scenario because there's just too many options that I like. So moving back 5 spots and picking up another pick, say in the 8th, while giving up a 9th or a 10th would make more sense for me. So I'm going to take Cortland Sutton. Final answer. And hope I don't miss on the quarterback run.
No, hasn't happened yet.
Julio was somebody else I was really considering. So still no quarterbacks. Matt's not going to start it because he's not going to be that guy.
A lot of wide receivers gone though. Yeah, I feel like I need to grab one of these wide receivers now, and I'm gonna take Debo.
Debo over Beckham.
Yeah, Debo over Beckham. I hope that Debo bounces back a little bit here. And that quarterback's run still has not happened.
There goes Lance.
Yeah. And now I'm going to stop playing with fire before I get burned, and I'm going to take one. And I'm going to go with an old veteran named Aaron Rodgers in round 8.5. That is more than okay with that.
Starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos, Aaron Rodgers.
Look at that. That didn't even start the run. Look at that.
Doesn't start the run. I will happily take Matthew Stafford here now for sure. And now I'm thinking whether or not, I do not want any of these running backs. Some decent players here. But my goodness, it definitely seems as though there is some type of sleeper issue with the quarterbacks. Because if you look at the rankings overall, like it's all quarterbacks. And none of them have been taken. So with my 2 quarterbacks that I've taken and my rankings, I'm going to take somebody that is going to surprise because he's not that high in my rankings, but he does have tremendous upside. You know what? I'm going to pivot because I don't think anybody at Sleeper is going to nobody's taking a quarterback yet. So I was going to take Jalen Hurts just because of the possible upside. If he does play well, I could sell, but he's somebody that I'd be looking to sell if I had right now. But I think the way this has gone, it's just not happening. So let's get some youth. I need a starting wide receiver. They've really not gone. I don't need a starting wide receiver. I'm good at wide receiver. Running back has nothing left. I'm going to take a player that I took last time.
That you really like.
Terrace Marshall.
I felt like that was where you were going when you said that.
You know what? Let's go Elijah Moore this time.
All right.
Just because I went with Terrace last time.
Sounds good to me.
Quarterback run. Zach Wilson. Jalen Hurts. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I was completely wrong. I do already have 2 quarterbacks. So.
Yeah, that's I'm glad I took Rodgers when I did.
Now, because you have Rodgers and because of the uncertainty, would you take somebody like Carson Wentz, who still has a lot of value here?
Yeah, like I wouldn't avoid him. That's for sure.
Because if you think about trade value, like Carson Wentz's trade value has to be higher than Curtis Samuel, who's the number 1 ranked wide receiver, higher than A.J. Dillon, higher than Irv Smith. Like the return you can get on a quarterback there would be higher.
It's for sure. For sure. Like I'm not looking running back. I'm looking at wide receiver, tight end, possibly with Irv Smith, which is somebody I did take last time. So maybe I'll pivot away from that one this time. And I took Carson Wentz actually last time as well. And I mean, yeah, I do like a few of these wide receivers. I like Marshall. I like Samuel, but not as much as Marshall. And I think Rager's still there. Yep, there he is. But I'm gonna take Terrace Marshall. I really am following your team's kind of layout from last time, I guess, a little bit.
And there's the tight ends are going now. So now you're stuck at tight end with an unfortunate situation. So I think maybe Irv would have been the better pick over Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, but so with that being said, and the reason that we were talking about, we talked about it, I think, on the other one that all 3 teams behind me had, all 4 teams behind me had already had a tight end. So I thought he might just keep sliding there, but
yeah, that's fair. Like these are some poor picks by those teams to double up at tight end when you have Waller. Like, do you really need Smith? I guess with the age difference, perhaps Goddard, Tunyon. Last time the people had Kittle and Kelsey too, right? So a bit of a different situation when you have those top 2 guys.
Now I'm gonna take Jalen Rager here. Just gonna keep that wide receiver youth going.
Just gonna keep taking my players.
I don't know. Did you have Rager last time?
I did.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
And there goes Tom Brady. So I know I've said this to you before, but I think he's a fantastic 3rd quarterback to have on a team. And that's Mac Jones, but I think I just like Sam Darnold better.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. He's still very young. Like that's got a lot of years left on him.
Yeah, even though my rankings say otherwise, I am going to go with Sam Darnold here and hope that his value increases, and then I can trade him and get a whole lot in return. I do get another pick.
You do.
Would I take another quarterback? Looking at these wide receivers, looking at my starting lineup filled with Elijah Moore, not ideal. A 4th quarterback in Mac Jones. Or a wide receiver. Team could use some depth like Jarvis Landry. Not tight end premium, so that's gone. You know what? I am going to take another quarterback. And I'm definitely going to be looking to trade one of these before the season starts. Somebody with Kyler Murray and Tom Brady would probably be interested in Mac Jones. If Hurts flames out, they would be interested. A team with Aaron Rodgers might be interested in Mac Jones. This team could be searching for a quarterback. So, yeah, I'm going to take another quarterback to trade. because I still think it's the highest, best available. And that's what I'm taking. And nothing else stands out to me that I really need to be reaching for. So I'll take Mac Jones.
Marquise Hollywood Brown. Okay.
Moss is a player I like, but not somebody that I'm, going to value higher than Mac Jones. On the trade market, Mac Jones, a lot of value. And if somebody prefers Sam Darnold, I can move him as well.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hedge my bet here and take Jordan Love with Aaron Rodgers. I didn't trust the teams behind me to not take quarterbacks, which they are clearly not doing. I thought for sure the team with Trey Lance and Deshaun Watson was going quarterback, but I guess not.
Still waiting. There still are some startable quarterbacks. Goff, Carr, Newton, Roethlisberger, Fitzpatrick, and Big Ben don't have much time left, but
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I've only got my 3 running backs that I have are very, very good, but I've got to start building a little bit of depth here. And I know I took him last time, and I don't have Ezekiel Elliott again, but it's again a player I really like and trust. Should something happen to Zeke, and even if something doesn't happen to Zeke, he's shown a lot of value. So I'm going to take Tony Pollard here.
Definitely a good pick to take somebody with that high upside there. I only have 2 running backs. So unless I see something stand out, I'm going to be going running back here. The first one I'm going to take is also a fantastic handcuff, and that is Gus Edwards.
Okay.
I don't believe in Naheem Hines being the actual handcuff in that situation. I think he's more of a committee, always going to be a committee. And they did bring back Marlon Mack, which leads me to believe they don't believe in him. But one player who you will be trading me for, and possibly a Mac Jones deal, will be Alexander Matheson, who I will now take. And I know you have Dalvin Cook, so Matheson has value to the Cook owner, and whoever has Cook is going to want him, and I'm going to look to trade with him.
I would definitely be looking at trading for Madison, not Mac Jones, but Madison, yes.
Well, I'm sure we could work out a trade at the end of this video that will work for both of our teams. Another fantastic handcuff going off right before you. That's Chuba Hubbard.
The tight ends are still very poor.
And you do not have a tight end yet.
I do not have a tight end yet, yes. I'm aware.
So taking a punt on the tight end position. There is an Adam Troutman.
Right. Once that Tunyon Irv Smith pick happened right there, that was when the decision was made to punt it. I mean, Mecole Hardman's the number 1 on here, but he's not number 1 for me. You know what? I'm just going to take another quarterback because I don't know between the running backs and wide receivers that any of those stand out for me much. So I'm going to take Derek Carr as my third. He's actually my 4th quarterback, but the Rodgers and Love kind of count as 1. Okay, so I was looking at Amari Rodgers, and he is now gone. Still got like Gabe Davis, Paris Campbell still there.
A couple players he took in our last video. Make sure to check that out. Our 1 quarterback dynasty video. Link for that will be in the description.
Going to gamble a little bit and possibly a little bit of a reach, but I am not going to wait on tight ends anymore. And I'm going to take someone with some upside. Not a super high pick last year, but and the starting quarterback there, who knows? But I'm going to go with Adam Troutman. Not somebody you ideally want as your starting tight end, that for sure.
Yeah, not somebody you want as your starting tight end. I'm a bit surprised that you passed on. I can't even see him. Blake Jarwin.
Yeah, I like the upside a little bit more.
A lot of hype with him last season. Obviously got hurt.
Yes.
And then Dalton Schultz filled in. Todd Gurley.
I wouldn't touch Todd Gurley, that's for sure.
So with my running back situation, I did get Gus Edwards. I did get Matheson, but they're not guys who are going to be starting. we took Paris Campbell in the last video. He's a player who would definitely get strong consideration here, but we're trying to pick some different players to make sure that teams aren't always the same in these mock drafts. So I'd like to go running back here because this is kind of the time where I tend to load up on running backs, but I'm not sure which one I want. Rashad Penny didn't get his 5th-year option extended. Elijah Mitchell, possibility. Marlon Mack. Keyshawn Vaughn with some nice high upside. Ooh.
Still some decent wide receivers sitting there.
Yeah, definitely some decent wide receivers. But I am going to go running back, and I am going to go with Rashad Penny. And then I'm going to go with Marlon Mack. So I'm getting some guys that are not, there goes Paris Campbell, some guys that aren't young, overly young. They're like in their around 25. But the opportunity for them could be very different next year. Penny didn't get the 5th-year option. Mack's on a 1-year deal, unless I'm incorrect, Matt. 1-year deal for Mack.
Yeah.
So even though they're behind running backs that are favored to them, they have the opportunity next year to land in a spot like Mike Davis did where they could be the starter. So I'm banking on the draft capital used on Penny, what Marlon Mack has done, that they'll get a chance somewhere else next year, or possibly work really well as a handcuff this year, because that's my last 4 picks have basically been handcuffs.
Okay. My next player here, I still only have 4 running backs, so I don't really love that. I'm going to take another one here. And I'm going to take Keyshawn Vaughn from Tampa. Ronald Jones, don't trust a ton. So I'm going to go with him here.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Javian Hawkins.
Over Vaughn, I would have taken him if Vaughn wasn't there, probably, to be honest. And somebody we talked about here, because like I don't really want Troutman as my starter if I don't have to. I'm going to take Blake Jarwin. So I'm going to get both of them anyway.
Nice.
It just solidifies the tight end position for this season, and I think my team is a contender year 1 here. Look at all the running backs go.
Yeah, so I think I just need kind of best available player who's going to put up points, because currently in my flex, I see Elijah Moore and Gus Edwards, and I'm going to need a bit more than that. So I'm thinking T.Y. Hilton is fitting best for that need, just because I don't believe in Christian Kirk. So I'm going to go T.Y. Hilton. I'm not going to go Marvin Jones in Jacksonville, even though that probably wouldn't be a bad pick. Mm-hmm. Instead, I'm going to grab Russell Gage in Atlanta, who at 25 years old could be the number 2, should be the number 2 wide receiver there. Unless, of course, Kyle Pitts is the number 2 wide receiver, however you want to look at that. Yeah. But we've seen in games where Julio wasn't there, the team still passes a lot. So Russell Gage has the possibility for this year, and he's still not old, of putting up some decent points. And that's kind of what my team needs, more flex options. So I'm going to go Russell Gage.
And there comes a couple of the older quarterbacks. Not that Goff is old, but definitely the quarterback run has happened there.
Yeah, and again, taking quarterbacks, even if you already have 4, is not a bad idea. But for the sake of this mock draft, I'm not going to be able to trade with all these bots that have been picking. So you're going to look at a team that has 6 quarterbacks and think, well, that was a terrible draft. But in reality, I could easily trade. And in reality, a lot of these quarterbacks would already be gone.
Yeah, some of them would. Like, I mean, I could definitely see like Roethlisberger, Fitzpatrick, Newton hanging around. The Saints, just because nobody really knows what's happening there.
Yeah, and somebody could have did something that you did last year when you grabbed Trubisky and Foles in back-to-back picks. You traded to make sure you had back-to-back picks so you can get them both to guarantee yourself a starter, which was really smart. So if you're looking to grab the Saints quarterbacks, look to trade for the pick that somebody's on when they're picking before you, and then you get both, and you get yourself a guaranteed starter.
Exactly.
So I don't think they're going to split them halfway through the game. You're going to know who's starting every week.
And yeah, just like last year, I was kind of worried if I took one of Foles or Trubisky because nobody really knew which one it was going to be. I figured the other one was going to go before it got back to me, so I made sure I had back-to-back when I did that maneuver.
Yeah, and other than the game where Foles came in for Trubisky, they started and they were the starter for the game. So,
correct. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go with somebody that you talked about at your pick in Marvin Jones, just because I think that out of the players left, he's probably got the most guaranteed for this season. And my team is looking more year one, so might as well just keep going on that path.
And the quarterback run continues.
Yes, it does. Very much so.
It ends at Kellen Mond. And there goes one of our favorites, Brian Edwards.
The guy I was picking next is, right there. So that's unfortunate.
It's nice that we're not picking them every time, but definitely somebody that we both like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at round 18, absolutely, I'm taking that gamble with him. And I'm just looking at the running backs here. I mean, LaMichael Pirine is okay, but I've heard that he's not even in the thought process of them there. Like it was Tevin Coleman and Michael Carter and I don't recall the other running back there that was getting the first team reps. Maybe you recall off the top of your head?
I do not. An interesting pick for a win now team would be Daryl Williams. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had some good games, but also had some struggles, and they trust Daryl Williams.
They do
in that offense to do things, and he had some decent games last year.
Yeah, I mean, none of these other backs here are really screaming anything to me. Like I know Eno's there, you like him, so that might be where you go, but
well, I also do like the Miami situation, right? As I mentioned, whoever's running the ball for Miami tends to get 20-plus touches a game. So even if you don't get the starter, if something happens to Myles Gaskin, who isn't the biggest guy, Salvon Ahmed would be a good pick. Somebody I will probably have to pick as my handcuff, or Matt could steal him now to work into a trade for Alexander Mattison.
Yeah.
But he is pretty far down the list, so I doubt he goes before my pick.
Yeah, I'm just not loving anybody here. And I know we're going to try to stick away from guys that we take a lot, but I'm going to take one anyway. Maybe not. I'm going to take another guy kind of falls in the same category as Marvin Jones, and we'll see. He might get cut because of Elijah Moore, but I'll take Jamison Crowder here.
If I would have known you were going to pick Crowder, I would put his jersey up in the back.
Well, I can't see the jersey at this point, so sorry.
Yeah.
18.5. I mean, Crowder, if he does anything close to last year, that's a great pick.
So for some reason in this draft, Malcolm Brown, who's also in Miami, is ranked ahead of Salvon Ahmed, but I don't think that's the actual order. It could be, and I could be wrong. Looking at my team, I will take Daryl Williams. And I am really loading up on running back. And I'm going to take a look at Sterling Sharp and see that he is 28 and probably decide not to go that route.
Sterling Shepard, not Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Shepard.
Yeah. Sterling Sharp would be a really poor pick at this point.
I mean, it depends on how old he is.
He's I'm going to say at least 50, probably.
I mean, in this mock draft, he could be 25. Then he'd be a fantastic pick. Yeah. I'm going to go with Brevin Jordan. I know I took him last time, but I have a tight end that's in his late 20s who should be good for 5-6 years, but you do need to start building players that are going to replace your current players. Mm-hmm. And because he's not the youngest and Brevin Jordan is, and I like Brevin Jordan's fantasy potential, I'm going to grab Brevin Jordan here. And I know I grabbed him last round too, even with a young tight end, but I like it more with my situation at tight end this time. And you missed N'Keal Harry by one pick.
That is actually who I was going to take last round, but then I figured because I took him last time, I'll leave him alone. Yeah, the running backs here are just – I've said it about 3 times now. I just don't like any of them. And I don't want to keep going to wide receiver. But
so with a win now team, you could be looking at Brashad Perryman, who wasn't terrible last year. He had some games.
yeah.
Could be the number one in Detroit.
I mean, I'm looking at AJ Green as well, but I have Hopkins, so I don't know if I want to go both on that.
I think that one is a lot better than the other, and one could act perhaps as a handcuff if one got hurt. But I don't see you starting AJ Green with your team. No, but now that I say that, like you have Rager and Marshall, I guess Jones is a play every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do need some getting to see the field and put up points basically guaranteed this year players.
And AJ Green is far from guaranteed to see the field. When's the last time he actually played a game?
AJ Green?
Yeah. I know he played last year. I'm going to take him because I think that there's just not a whole lot. I'm going to go for the old Cincinnati wide receiver duo, Marvin Jones and AJ Green.
Nice. You going to take Mohamed Sanu as well?
I should. Maybe TJ Hushmanzada is in here somewhere.
Maybe Chad Johnson? Is Ocho in here?
Maybe Ocho.
I mean, Ocho's boxing now, so
yeah, I saw
comeback is imminent.
There's still no running backs I like. Obviously, none of them went either.
How do you feel about this play for your team?
I think I've got enough now of that kind of Marvin Jones, Jamison Crowder, AJ Green type.
Okay.
I mean, if I was going to go wide receiver again, I'd probably try to pick up someone with a little bit more upside, like maybe a Tyler Johnson or DPJ. Traquan Smith, I think, is interesting. I know you don't really care for him, but I think he's more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's the number 2, right? Like, they don't really...
At pick 20, like, I mean, does it really matter how much...
No, not at all.
No. And yeah, I'll take him because I like the upside there. And you never know with Winston, he might do something.
A couple of other guys that we do like that we took in our last draft, so we won't be taking here. Tyler Johnson, Donovan Peoples-Jones are some players that I would strongly consider at this pick. I don't think I need more win now guys. Maybe this could make sense, but
that is more of a win now play for sure.
Yeah. With how far down the list he is, I think I can get him with my last pick. So I will take Salman Ahmed here with my first pick. And is there a quarterback? Oh, man. Don't need a quarterback. And you know what? I'm going to take Van Jefferson, a player that I would probably never draft, but a player who's in a good situation as the number 3 wide receiver now. I'm not counting Deshaun Jackson as being the number 3 wide receiver, at least not long term. I'm just going to quickly check the contract situations on Robert Woods and on Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp's extended for a while, but I think Robert Woods is – oh, no, he's extended for a while as well.
Yeah.
Potential out after this year, but a lot of dead cap. Looks like he's just re-signed. Yeah, very recently. So let's just see Kupp. It's probably not going to affect my pick, but I'm just interested to see. And Cooper Kupp looks like he is a potential out after 2023.
So
or after 2022. So I'm still going to go with him. He's still a young player who didn't do much last year. So his value is quite low. Had we done this draft last year, he would have already been gone. Yep. But that rookie fever hits, and people take guys like Des Fitzpatrick, even though Julio Jones is there now, and Tutu Atwell, who plays for the same team.
Yes.
Van Jefferson, welcome to the team.
Okay, so Njoku just went. That was somebody I was actually looking at. I still do have Harrison Bryant there that I like. And this is going to be a questionable pick that I'm going to make here in that I'm now kind of loading up on 2 teams, but out of the quarterbacks left, I think there's still upside that this guy could become a starter at some point. So I'm going to go Marcus Mariota.
Interesting. I like Gardner Minshew actually at this point of the draft, simply because I don't think the Jaguars will hold him. I think they will get something for him at some point. He's shown that he can be a fairly decent, competent quarterback. So I think he'll probably get another chance to start down the line. Probably not this year, but possibly next year. So you're buying very low on a Gardner Minshew.
And he went right after Mariota, we'll point out.
Yep.
Mariota's got, I think, 1 year left on his deal, so he could be in that same play. I mean, if I'm a GM, I'm looking more at Mariota than I am at Gardner Minshew. Personal opinion. I feel like I need a back here, and I honestly don't know who to take for a running back here because they just all are blah. Which, I mean, you're going to get – I know that's who you love, but –
I'm going to see how long I can wait before getting him.
The backs in front of him there, I mean, he could easily start very quickly, like Edmonds and Connor.
Yeah, definitely a player that I like and have many shares of. Benjamin could be a cut candidate as well. You never really know what teams are doing, but when you look at what's in front of them, you have Chase Edmonds for this year, and you have James Conner, who I also believe is on a 1 year deal.
Yes.
So as soon as next year, he could be the starter if they want to give him a shot and don't feel like spending equity in the draft on running back. Players I would definitely not take at this stage. Giovanni Bernard. I mean, he's back number 4 in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram in Houston. He's also back number 4 there. I'm not opposed to Wayne Gallman, but I'm also not really overly in favor of it. Jerick McKinnon in Kansas City. No, not going to happen. Carlos Hyde in Jacksonville. No, thank you. Not after the draft of Travis Etienne. Matt Breida in Buffalo. I'm just off Matt Breida altogether. Chris Thompson, I didn't realize he was still playing in Jacksonville. Devontae Booker in the Giants. I wouldn't actually go too far away from this simply because, Saquon has been hurt.
Yeah, he has. And, yeah, there's probably going to be some opportunity there, but this is bad. I can't even take any of them.
Damien Williams, again, also would be somebody who I would stay away from.
I'm taking Harrison Bryant, and I know that we tried to not pick the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest problem if you take somebody who – because here are 2 players that, again, I've mentioned I've liked and I took in the last draft that I'm avoiding but would definitely be looking at this point.
Yeah, DPJ and Tyler Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I am going to go tight end here, and I'm going to go with Kylan Granson because, again, looking to go young. I have Kittle. I'm pretty solid for the time being, so I'm going to take a second rookie tight end in Kylan Granson. Anything left at quarterback? Andy Dalton, Dwayne Haskins. I don't really need quarterbacks, so to be taking guys like that, if you're on a quarterback needy team that needs a starter right away, Andy Dalton could be the starter, so you could take him. And Dwayne Haskins could be the starter next year. So if you've had a bad quarterback draft, which I don't think anybody really has other than the Watson-Lance situation here, where they have Garoppolo, which makes sense with Lance as their third, but they could be in need of another quarterback. So grabbing an Andy Dalton and grabbing a Dwayne Haskins gets you some play there. I think I'm going to go wide receiver just to get another wide receiver. And I am going to go with Preston Williams, who I like a lot less now than I used to before the additions, but they are short-term additions. And once Will Fuller and Parker are gone, he could be part of the tandem that starts there. Still a young man, 24 years old, hopefully back from the injury. If you look at his game log, do we have game log? Yeah. Targets 7-5, not the greatest. In 2019, the targets looked a lot better early on before he was injured again.
But, yeah, at this point, you can easily cut any of these guys and not really be too worried about it.
And, again, I'm just hoping for Benjamin with my last pick, seeing if he'll make it there, player I quite like.
Yeah, I don't know how long and I know that you've taken Ahmed, but I will take just the running backs just to fill out the running back room here.
And, I mean, Malcolm Brown just went that same round as well. There goes the 2 players that we've talked about throughout this draft of grabbing, going late in the 24th round. Now, the 24th round and the 20th round are basically the same round. So if there are players that you really like, I mean, even going back to about after this Russell Gage pick, so we're looking at the 18th round and on, your last 6 bench spots or 7 bench spots, grab the players that you want, right? Don't worry about reaching when you're at that point. I would have taken Eno a long time ago. I would have taken him at least here, if not up here.
Yeah, because Penny's free agent at the end of the year, I'm going to take DJ Dallas.
Solid pick.
As solid as they get in round 24.
And look at that. Eno's going to make it.
Yeah, you must be excited.
So that's going to wrap up this draft. Let's quickly go over our teams. I will start. I had the first pick. I went with the best quarterback in the league, a couple of old wide receivers, and a top tight end, my top tight end in Dynasty. The running backs left something to be desired, but when I look back at this draft, outside of possibly grabbing Dobbins here, which I think is a bit of a reach compared to Kittle, I think Kittle will score more points in the near future. And then Michael Thomas on the way back, like if Jacobs had been here and Thomas not, I would have taken him. Gaskin was the last running back that was available. As you can see, after Gaskin, there wasn't another running back taken until 10 picks later, which was Edmonds. Like Sutton, I love my quarterback situation, and it's too much. I'm definitely going to be looking to trade to a team, probably this team, to give them somebody like a Sam Darnold so they have another starter right away. And if I can possibly either get an upgrade at running back by packaging Gaskin for one of their solid 3 running backs, and again, I'm probably going to be having to add a little bit more to get this deal done, but I'm trading away a Gaskin or a Sanders with Sam Darnold to get one of these players, and I'm also going to give probably a draft pick or something else to get it done. Then I went with the cuffs, as I normally do, just looking for guys who, with an injury, become a starter. Because, again, fantasy football is week to week, so you want to get those guys that are going to be able to put up points. I needed some more depth at wide receiver, so I went with these older starting wide receivers, and then the last rounds is just kind of whatever. Matt, you want to go through your team?
Yeah, I'll go through mine fairly quickly here. 3 of my top 4 picks were running backs that I have in the top 10, and I expect all those guys to be very good for at least the next couple seasons, barring injuries, of course. Wide receivers a little bit older with Hopkins and Evans, but both going to be still good for, again, that same kind of window, 2 to 3 years. And then my quarterbacks, Tagovailoa and Rodgers, which I've backed up with Jordan Love. So whatever happens in Green Bay, I've got the starter there. Got the starter in Vegas with Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota for this year. And then we'll see what happens with either of those folks after that. I got a little bit of younger wide receivers a little bit later on with Marshall and Rager just to balance out the age of Hopkins and Evans.
And then you went right back to the age here.
Then I grabbed a bunch of guys that, because it started shaping out that this is a team that has to win in the first year or two here to that's what it's going to be built as, a win now team with no real intention on that. Like I said, I feel like a couple of these guys are 2 or 3 year players anyway, and possibly more. But yeah, that's kind of how I went. And then with the bench spots here, it was just more like, yeah, whatever. And Tony Pollard, if something happens to Zeke. I know it's just going to show us Troutman as my starting tight end, but I'd probably go Jarwin at first just to see for the usage. And then Harrison Bryant down the road. I think he's going to be the starter for Cleveland as the tight end. Once in Njoku, and they probably cut Hooper. And then a couple of running backs. Like, I would be looking at trading for Madison because I have Cook, and that's why you took him. But
I took him as trade bait for whoever had the Dalvin Cook. Not necessarily because it's you, but because you do have him, let's make a trade. You want Alexander Mattison? Let's see if we can make a deal done. I will be very lenient and give you a decent deal here. So why don't you make an offer that makes sense for both teams?
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, your weakness is running back. I mean, obviously, I'm not giving up Cook, Chubb, or Mixon in that sort of deal. I don't know. I could put you back with like Madison and let's pick somebody worse down here. Like, I don't know, Van Jefferson for like Keyshawn Vaughn and say, I don't know, Marvin Jones. So that's round 13 and round 21 for round 15 and 17. To recap.
Sure.
There you
go. Would you do Mixon and Vaughn for Matheson and Sanders?
No, that's a big jump from Mixon to Sanders. Not worth the changing the minor players there.
Okay. That's going to wrap it up for the Superflex / 2 quarterback draft, since that's the way we had to do it. Hope you enjoyed it. If there were some picks that you like or some players that you're targeting in your Dynasty drafts, comment down below and comment down any picks that we did that you didn't like or about Matt's awful trade idea. Matt, anything else to say?
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you did both.
That's it.